Hello and welcome to the Biz Kidz Podcast. We're glad you're back today with us. We have a new guest with us today and a co-host. Ella is our co-host, and you've seen her before on the show. She's going to be helping me ask our guest, Mark, about his business. If you just found us, this podcast is all about inspiring kids to start businesses. So we like to hear stories from local business owners and entrepreneurs that have started their businesses, have seen success, and we try to get some input from them on ideas of how to start businesses so kids can hear how actual owners of operations of businesses are doing it. Mark has a great story about how he got into the business, and I think the cool thing that we're going to be kind of talking about today is kids that are looking to get into the trades. There's a lot of opportunity once you learn a skill to buy a business in the trades, and it's a industry that's kind of dying off, and a lot of the tradesmen that are in the field are starting to retire, and there's a lot of business owners that are trying to get out of the business and are looking for somebody to sell it. And so if you have the experience in a trade and you went and did all the hard work and figured it out, a lot of times you can step into those opportunities and take over a business or buy a business that's already running and established. So we're going to kind of go into a little bit more about that. But Mark Maynard with Dr Kool Air Conditioning's here in Southwest Florida. Why don't you give us 60 seconds of who you are and what you do?
So I'm Mark, owner and operator of Dr Kool Air Conditioning here in beautiful Bonita Springs. We service all of Southwest Florida, from Marco Island to Punta Gorda, Lehigh to Cape Coral. We even go out to Ave, and we do all phases of air conditioning, from a maintenance, residential AC maintenance, to a commercial rooftop change out. That means there's nothing we can't handle with that air conditioner, whether it be keeping you cool, getting your air quality under control, keeping the house comfortable and healthy to live in.
And Mark, how many employees do you have at this point?
Currently, we have 16 employees, counting my wife and myself.
16. And I know you and I had talked a while back about how you kind of got into the business. How young were you when you started studying the trades? I know you didn't start off just opening your own business from the trades, but you got into the trades and figured it out. How old were you at that time?
I was about 20 years old.
Great. Well, we're going to ask our co-host to jump in here and ask her questions. Ella, give us 30 seconds of who you are if this is somebody's first time on here and what you do.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ella. I'm a young entrepreneur, and I created the hands-free dog leash, the For Dog's Sake dog leash. I have a business called For Dog's Sake. So I've been doing events with Biz Kidz for about 3 years, I think, somewhere around there. I started when I was 13, and I'm 15 now. I think I was I'm almost 16, so almost 3 years. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it, and I have a lot of fun. So
she's a master at sales, even at the young age. So Mark, if you're looking for a salesperson, Ella would be a great AC salesperson because she can sell dog leashes like you wouldn't believe.
I've seen her do it, so I know she can. She sold me.
We'll start with you, Ella. Go ahead and ask Mark your first question about his business.
So I heard you talking kind of about when you were younger, starting. So I'm curious to know, did you always know you were going to be a business owner? Did you always have kind of an entrepreneurial spirit?
I always knew I was going to be somebody and own some type of business. I just didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't expect it to be to the scale it is today. I always thought if I could have 1 or 2 trucks, I'd be happy. And then when you get to that point, you always want more.
And I'm also curious, you're talking with JD about your employees. So I'm curious to know, what are something you look for in your employees and even business partners?
So as far as employees, well, anybody in our business, in the organization, we look for personality being the key. We would like them to have some experience in the industry because it means they know a little bit about what they're doing. As far as a service tech, we need that, but they have to start off by having a good, positive, can-do attitude. If they're constantly wanting to throw their tools down and say, this doesn't work, I can't do this, then I can't teach attitude and personality. I can teach the trade.
And let's go back a little bit before we go too much further. Mark, why don't you tell us your story, how you got into where you are starting a business of your own? I know you worked for a couple different companies. You don't have to go into all the details, but I know you had some rough years. You and I had a conversation, and you had some rough years trying to get established and get your foot in the door before that happened. How did that all kind of work out for you?
So, a quick briefing of my story is, when I moved to Key West, I was an electrician's helper, and I found quickly that because I had already had that trade under my belt, I had already been doing it in South Carolina. So when I got to Key West, they had me doing the job of the electrician, but at helper's pay. I was doing more than the electricians, getting my jobs done faster. And then I had a helper, but I was still making helper pay. So two helpers doing what a lead should be doing. And I took it and ran with it. I asked for a raise. They told me no. And then I turned around the next day and a guy asked me, "Hey, guy, do you want to do air conditioning?" I said, "Air conditioning? Well, yeah, I'd like to, I guess. What does it pay?" And he said, "Well, it pays $11 an hour." I was only making 7. I says, "Well, that's a no-brainer. I'll take the job." He said, "Let me go introduce you to the boss." Took me to introduce me to the boss. They hired me. What I didn't realize is when you're the helper in the air conditioning industry, that's especially the green guy, you're not being treated very well. You're the guy that crawls around the attic all day, rubbing in the insulation, getting itchy. That part's no fun. But I quickly grew through the company because the people with the company were not very reliable. The lead guy that taught me a lot wasn't reliable. The service guy wasn't reliable. And then the boss called me one day and said, "I need you to do service calls." So I went and started doing some service calls. And he told me, "Go fire the guy, the service guy." So I went and told him, I said, "You're fired. I get your truck." And I didn't know nothing about it. I got me a small raise, but I was doing the work of a guy making $20 an hour and I was only making 13. But hey, it was an improvement for me. I did that. And then we had to move to Southwest Florida because of an emergency with my mom and her health was deteriorating. When we came here, I had worked for a company here. I didn't like the way companies operated. They were all about get all the money today because the customer's not going to call you tomorrow. And I didn't like that mentality. I'm a relationships guy, so I quickly realized that air conditioning after 4 years of being in the industry wasn't for me at the time, not working for other companies. So I left the industry, went to the apartment industry, and that's where I became a really good service technician and learned a lot because I could be wrong and it'd be okay. And I didn't have to cost the customer money because it was literally just go to the shop, get a different part. I was able to practice, learn what the parts were, what to do, how to do them, why it does what it does, what makes it go, and really get good at it to where after being in the apartment industry for over 10 years, I was tired of being told, "You make too much money now, you're fired." They sell the property after we get it going really well. So that got tough. So I said, I'm going to get my own license for air conditioning. And I quickly pursued that, started the process, got another job in the apartments while I did that. And in December of 2013, I became Dr. Kool. The day I got the phone call, I was so excited that I was under a sink. I sat up, bumped my head, ran out the apartment door, and right past my golf cart to the office to go tell the manager that I was giving her a 90-day notice because I was officially Dr. Kool Air Conditioning.
That's great. And now today, what is a new guy that is licensed and gone through the school? What's he making as an average hourly wage?
Well, to be an air conditioning technician, you don't need to be licensed.
Okay.
You just need, you can come in being green. We've hired guys as helpers. Helpers start between 18 and 20 an hour. Used to be 15, but in the last couple of years, it's definitely jumped. So they're making 18 to 20. And then skilled service technicians and installers are making anywhere from 26 to 32 an hour. Some companies pay more, some pay less and pay bigger commissions. We don't pay big commissions because we pay pretty good hourly because we don't want to incentivize the techs to go out and rob everybody and sell them stuff just to make extra money.
Yeah. And I think it's important to let, young people know that, if you're thinking about going down this road of being in the industry, you kind of have to do your dues too, you kind of have to do the hard stuff. You have to figure it out. So you learn the processes. Yeah. It's not fun to crawl into an attic on a hot day, but you have to know how the systems work. And if as a business owner, you want to know how things are working so your people aren't telling you that this is the one way they're doing it and that's not the right way to do it. So to have that accountability. Ella, do you have another question for him?
Yeah, sure. I heard how you kind of said you were a relationship man. So I'm curious on how you develop your relationship with your customers.
Well, even today, I was out doing sales because I don't have a comfort specialist at the time. Comfort specialist is the sales guy, but I don't like that term sales guy because nobody wants to meet the sales guy, but the comfort specialist. And so that's what I was today. And I went to one customer that's been our customer for years, but I haven't never met her. And I was able to talk to her about some problems that she's having with her system that are not problems of ours, but they're problems that have just been awrying for several years now. And I came up with solutions to fix them for her. But while I'm there, I'm talking to her and she's telling me about personal stuff, that they've had cancer and everything, and that they're going through a lot. And when I listen to customers, they tell me what they need. And one of the key factors that me and her talked about was that she needed a healthy home to live in. And we needed to take care of some of the problems that she's having with her air quality to make her home better for her to be in. And when I started talking to her about it, she said, I didn't know you guys did that stuff. And it's because we didn't talk to her about it. But I listen to the customer, understand what they want, and understand what they're dealing with to know what to offer them. If there's nothing to offer them, I let them know, hey, I don't have a solution for that now, but let me work on that. My second call I went to was a brand new customer with us. He wanted a quote to put in a new unit. He's had 3 other guys there that just ran in, talked to him for 5 minutes, slapped him with an estimate, and ran out the door and said, call me when you're ready. I did not give him an estimate while I was there because I needed to do a little more homework on what I'm going to offer him. But I spent 2.5 hours with this customer, understanding what he wants. Initially, when I got there, he wanted the cheapest system I can give him. By the time I left, he was asking me about the most expensive system he can buy because he thought it would save him money on his electric bill. And I would love to sell it to him, but I'm not going to sell it to him based on he's going to save money on his power bill, because his power bill for a 1,800 square foot house is running him $157 a month. I can't save him money on the power bill. If he does, it'll be very minor. So that's how I build relationships. I listen to the customer, what they want. We talk about personal stuff, where they're from. If I know something about that area, I find it. I bring it out of myself to understand and just to listen to them. Sometimes we got nothing in common. Sometimes we find that there's something in common that we can talk about. And that's what it's all about with the customers. They're not buying an air conditioner.
We find that with our kids too. And, when they're out selling their stuff, as long as they're engaged with their customer and actually having a conversation, people are so excited that they're actually doing that. I have so many people say, these kids weren't on their phone or distracted by other things. They actually had good eye contact with me. So that's one of our goals to teach our young entrepreneurs is interact with your clientele, ask them questions, find out what they're looking for. And then that way you can help service them and take care of them. Because if you're not asking the questions, you're just trying to sell them something and you're just another salesman.
And when you talk to the customer, speak with confidence. Even if you're not confident about what you're talking about, sound like it. Because if you're not confident in what you're talking to the customer about, whether it be the product you're selling them or just learning and understanding about them, then you're most likely not going to make that sale, for one, and you're not going to build that relationship for two. And I know I've had relationships talking to the kids at the expos and stuff, and I've told a few of them, hey, speak up a little bit. Let's, be a little more energetic when you're talking to the customer. I have bought stuff from most of the kids in the Biz Kidz, some, whether it be one thing or another. And I tell them, talk, let's be more confident. Let's talk about what you're selling me. If I like what they're talking about, I definitely buy something. If I don't, I might leave for a little bit, come back and give them another try. I don't just buy it just because they're there.
That's definitely something I've learned in selling. My favorite thing is when somebody comes back and I see them in Avec, I've done so many events in Avec, people are I wish I'm so excited to see you again. I wanted to buy another. And that's definitely one of my favorite things. And that's helped me build confidence a lot. Just talking. And I like to say I build confidence by experience. But it's kind of funny because my next question was, what are some things that help you build confidence in your business or just as a business owner? What are some things that help you?
For me, confidence was a real tough thing at one point because I'm blind in one eye. So I've got a lot of things that hold me down. And in my mind, I get nervous. Are they going to look at me funny for not looking right at them? Are they going to think, why is that guy's eyes like this? Why is this? Why is that? But over time, now I don't let it bother me. I actually let the customer know that they have to like me. Or the person. We do a lot of dog events and we go out to a hunt camp. And the people out there, some of the people that have been going there, the older people have been going there for 20 and 30 years, they don't like anybody. And just the other day, my wife said, you've made them all like you. What did you do? I said, I told them they had to. I didn't give them a choice. I talked with confidence, just let them know who I am. And it made them come around. If they had any kickback, I found something else in common to make it work.
And that's the key, right? It's finding something in common. And that's something we try to stress as well. Like when you're having that conversation, look for those commonalities and share them, because once people do see that you have commonalities with them, it may be kids or dogs or the area you lived in or whatever, that kind of helps bridge that, and people's like feel more comfortable talking to you if you're talking to them about things they enjoy and they like.
I love it when I see a 912 area code or a 732 area code on a call that I'm going to. 732 lets me know that they're from the area in New Jersey that my wife is from. 912 lets them know they're from the area where I was from. Then I automatically know we have something in common that I can talk about. I can't believe how many people have family from New Jersey. So if they're not from New Jersey, they have family from there or family from Georgia. So it's funny to me how that works, but I use that. That is my first one I use. The second thing I use is my dogs, because I don't know many people out there that can say with a straight face, I don't like dogs. And when I tell them I've got dogs and I run them in hunt tests, and then they're like, what is a hunt test? What is that? And I explain to them what it is, and they're like, that's awesome. Or I say, we run Fast Cat, and they say, Fast Cat, you're chasing cats? No, it's an event. We chase lures. And I said, and my dog can run nearly 29 miles an hour. What? Wow, that's awesome. So to me, I just look for that.
You need a leash to hold your dog so it doesn't run away from you. So
I
you
do.
need to
I
talk
hold
to
my
Ella.
dogs like this.
Go ahead, Ella.
So, I mean, I think that is really important, the commonalities, like you said, because, and especially dogs, because all I have to say is, do you have a dog? And I've had people crap.
I got, so something, and looking for commonality there, one of the things I did, we just did a home show in Fort Myers at the Suncoast Arena. That was a rough 2 days for me, because you can't run up to everybody and say, you stand in your booth and just say, hey, are you looking to buy a new AC? Because they don't want to talk to you at that point. So I did it where I stood there the whole day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And first thing I would say as they're walking by me is, how are you? I assume you have an air conditioner at home. And everybody would say, well, of course I have an air conditioner. This is Florida. Well, I'm glad to know that. We do all phases of air conditioning, from a maintenance to a change out. And if they say, oh, I've got a new one, I've got a guy. When they tell me they got a guy, I love that, because I tell them, I'm glad you got someone that you can trust. But if he ever can't get to you, I want you to have my number, because I'll be the second one in line, because I started my business being the second guy in line to now be the first guy in line for over 6,000 customers. And that really, I couldn't find anybody that said, I don't want your stuff anyway.
One of the things we used to do, I was in the lawn care business for 23 years, and we did a lot of home shows, and we did a lot of farmers markets and stuff. And one thing we realized is everybody is programmed when they're going through one of those shows to say no. They all want to say no the first thing. So you start off with a no question. So what we did is we created these coupons, and they weren't a significant coupon. It was $20 off. And we said to everybody that walked through the show, did you get a coupon yet? And they want to say no. No, I didn't. And so then we just put our hand out with the card, and 95% of the time they would take the card and keep on walking. And a lot of times they would look at it while they're walking, turn around, come back and talk to us. So asking a no question, because people are programmed to say no, is also a good idea for that. We're running close on time. So Ella, this is your final and last question. Get him on a good one this time.
I would love to tell you I haven't had any failures, but that would be a lie. We've actually faced what I felt like was a failure in the last couple of years. We grew really fast in the last 2 years, but we didn't scale. And when you don't scale as you're growing and you grow too fast, it can grow you out of business. We ended up with too many employees, and they weren't turning the amount of revenue that they should turn for each employee, which then made the bank accounts for the business drop really fast, and that makes it tough. So you have to watch that. You have to watch everything. You can't just watch with blinders on and not see over here and over here, because things can happen really quick that can be bad. So the failure was, that we grew too fast, but didn't scale and didn't have the right procedures in place. We've had to take a step back. That's why we went from 22 employees down to 16. And we're taking the time to reset everything and work with a new coach and this industry specific and help us get back on track to keep Dr. Kool doing great things for the community.
But again, that's not a failure. As we always teach is celebrate the failures. Even if you did find, hey, we're not being as profitable per employee, it's something you learned along the way. And so actually it helps define your business. It helps to get it stronger and healthier. So you are making the profits that you need to keep the doors open. Because if we ignore those and we have those failures along the way and we don't do anything about it, then we do end up closing the doors. And so it's actually, I would celebrate it. And I know it's the hardest thing for all of us entrepreneurs to do is like, you've been kicked and you kick down and you're losing money and the bank account's going lower and we all just want to give up. But this is the time where you actually show that you're an entrepreneur and look for new ways to really define yourself and your business and make it grow the way it needs to grow. My hat's off to you that you actually said, hey, we've grown good, but now we need to be more effective. And let's cut a few people and try to really define who we are and what our service is so we can be more profitable in the end. So good job.
Thank you.
What last advice would you give, Mark, to a young entrepreneur that wants to get into the trades? As we talked about in the beginning, I think there's a huge opportunity for kids that want to pursue the trades and later on start their own business or buy into a business. Or what advice would you give a young person?
So the biggest advice I'd give anybody, we need more tradespeople, whether it be air conditioning, electrical, or plumbing. Air conditioning being one of the key ones because nobody understands they have to be on call as you become a technician, and nobody really likes just hanging out in the attic. Well, there are a few guys. My guys don't mind it, but we do what we got to do. So, for the young people, is the trades are a place to be. The trades are going to be something we always need. They're never going to make robots that can go out and fix air conditioners in people's houses. So the trades are where to be. Learn them, take the time to do it. And then after you've done it put your time into the trade and understood it, learned it, and became a manager of a company, then you can look at possibly starting your own company. A lot of times it's better to grow with a company because you can make really good money in this industry if you put your time into it and don't just want to run around jump job to job. And I can honestly say owning your own trades business is not the easiest thing in the world. You have to have thick skin and be willing to deal with it. Not know what your house looks like at 5 p.m. Know what it looks like at 9, because the customer doesn't care about that you didn't make it home for dinner. They care that their house gets cool. And that's how I've made it as far as I have. And anyone can do it if I can do it. So I say learn the trade and rock on.
And, we have to give Mark a huge shout out because Mark has been a sponsor of our events since we started this and launched it 4 years ago. And he has helped so many kids, mentoring them. He helps us get the prize money for the expos. And so a huge shout out to Mark for everything that he does for our community and investing in these young entrepreneurs and helping them find what they want to do. So thank you for that. If you want to get your kids involved with us, we do everything from our Biz Kidz Expo to our Biz Kidz Markets where they can actually sell their products, make money for themselves. And we have a pitch competition going on right now where kids can submit a video and win some extra prize money to invest back into their business. But they get to pitch their idea for 90 seconds on a video to us, and our judges will take a look at those and judge those. If you want to find out more information, follow us on www.bizkidzusa.org and can find all their events that we're doing. Most of our events are in Southwest Florida, but you can be anywhere in the country and be a member of our Biz Kidz Hub, which is our training and resource center to help young entrepreneurs. You can even do the pitch competitions no matter if you're across the country and not in Florida. We want to help inspire you to get your business launched and then take it off. So Ella, thank you for being here today to be our co-host. And Mark, thank you for taking the time to invest in our kids. And we will see you guys on the next episode of the Biz Kidz Podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having me.